more news with regards to my nephew. And I don't understand it. I don't understand why women are so, like, horrible. Like, they're horrible people, and they call attention to themselves, and I don't understand it. Like, my brother's last girlfriend, they'd gotten a dog together, and it was dumb. And the dog ended up staying here for, like, ever, it seemed like. But when he ended up giving her back the dog, she had made a post on one of those, like for the whole city sort of things, and he had she had posted a picture of my brother saying that he's like a dog abandoner, and it pissed me off because I knew that wasn't true. So I said something that I wish I had, like, the original posts and stuff. I just have some of the things that I commented. But yeah, I don't understand it. And then, like, his baby mama now, like, I was gonna keep the messages between us, like, private, but there's no reason to now. Like, it's just her lying. So it's crazy. I'm gonna tell you what my brother came over and told me last night after this is the very beginning of our conversation. So she said, "Hey, did you add me on here? Is it to show me videos you've shared regarding Emran? I have nothing against you sharing opinions. Hey, shush! You're entitled to as his aunt, but perhaps you should know the full truth behind Emran. I have raised my boy for 7 years, and the system out here has failed him. Childcare providers give up on him. He gets suspended and kicked off the bus. It's to the point where I'm going to potentially risk losing my job. As far as the tablet or iPad is concerned, YouTube videos are never unsupervised while he's in my home. I'm not just your brother's baby mama. I'm your nephew's mommy." Who has given this boy everything under the sun. I love my son more than anything, which is why I've made a decision based purely on his request. He has said since he was 4 that he wants to live with his dad. I didn't want to make that choice back then wholeheartedly, but now he's almost 7 and he's still requesting it. So who am I to keep him apart from his dad? Emran has always acted out when apart from Ryan, whether it's home or school setting. He has a strong bond with Ryan, and Ryan has a bigger support system where he is, and he'll be able to be out in sports, better school with better resources, hopefully better healthcare for him to be properly assessed so Ryan gets all the facts himself. I feel I've done my due diligence as a mother, and who says anything about this being forever? My husband and I plan to eventually relocate back to Sudbury or somewhere at least closer to there, which then we may do 50-50. I'm not giving up on him or giving him to Ryan. I still plan to see him, and I still plan to provide for him financially. I still plan to be an active part in his life as his mother, but mental health is declining for both Emran and I. As for the overly sexual comment, you may want to get my side of that story. As the school has suggested, he uses foul language and knows what a penis is, as we teach him proper knowledge of his own parts, and the school likely teaches proper parts as well. He told me he gets to watch bad YouTube at Daddy's house. And even here, we've locked him out of adult content, and I know sometimes it can be leaked into the kids. It's scary world technology nowadays, but it's not something we can avoid any longer, as it's being provided to kids in schools. Now, and girl, you have your parents. Consider yourself lucky. I have no one, and I was to the point having to pay my mother-in-law my wage an hour to look after Emran, just so I could work. That's stupid. Plus the current situation, my husband is working out of town for long periods of time, and a lot of change has occurred for Emmy. He's excited to go to Ryan's, and I think it would do some good for your brother too. It would teach him how to be a disciplinary parent and not just a fun dad. Plus, he'll get to experience Emmy through any positive or negative light. I think it's great when kids get to be part of their other parent. My dad and I are not close because my mother had a power trip with letting my brother and I go. I did not want to make the same mistake. It's called equal parent rights, and I don't think it's right for you to make snide comments about my son being anywhere near overly sexual. Perhaps I read or heard your video wrong, so perhaps you could provide some clarity there. By the way, I'm no way, shape, or form angry at you for sharing truth. I'd love to be able to share truths about your brother and your family and how I was treated, but it's definitely not worth diving back into my boy. Is it possibly whether any of us like it or not? But he is also half of me, whether anyone in your side has anything to say on that, whether they like it or not. Kids don't get to choose their parents, and the parents don't get to choose their kids' spouses. But I mean, to each their own on that manner. No one seemed to ever be good enough for Ryan, it seems, and I feel sorry for him to have to constantly fight for his partner to be enough. And then when he's had enough hell, he's found the actual one for him. And I'm happy, and I'm beyond happy he has Alicia. I sincerely hope you take this as an amazing opportunity for both your brother and our son. Emma deserves nothing but the best, and sometimes mothers aren't all a child needs in this day and age. My mom was both my mom and dad, and still to this day, I wish I had my dad, but I didn't, and I sure as hell never wanted my kids to go through any of that turmoil. On side note, I never had any hatred or ill intent towards you or your parenting. I feel my only fault in that family was I tried too hard to be accepted and enough for Ryan. Yeah. So, and when I wasn't, I fell off a deep end. I guess I should be able to admit by now. But you have to understand, of all people, what it's like to be manipulated, held on a string, made you feel crazy, for having expectations, for being basically thrown into a family I barely knew by getting pregnant. I never intended to trap your brother. I never intended to make anyone in that family feel that I was crazy, that I was a crazy bitch either. I loved your brother, and I'm grateful I have his son, but I loved him enough to move on, and we finally have a great co-parentship. I don't understand logics of when a child goes to live with daddy, a mom becomes the bad guy and made out to be giving up. Whatever happened to both parent raising a child. I'm not about to leave my husband and daughter's dad, who's never, not once, made me question whether or where I stand in his heart, and I count myself lucky to have found someone to love me the way he has. And there's no way in hell I would risk losing him to go back to your brother just because we share a son. It's not worth the turmoil. Sometimes people just aren't meant to be, and that's okay. I never said to get back with him. You deserve to be happy, and don't let anyone make you feel like a shit mom or person. I never hated you, Sarah, and I promise this is between you and I. I don't wish to have a battle about my parenting skills, nor do I want to involve Ryan in this convo either. So I said, I didn't add you. I'm not reading all of this. And then I did end up reading it. And I said, maybe you should have put your son before yourself and not moved him away from the bigger support system you and Ryan both had here. The message I got from Ryan is, guess what? I get full custody of Emmy or something along those lines, but not exactly those words. Something I always knew would happen. I had hoped it would have been sooner. I refer to you as my brother's baby mama because that's how I speak. Rather than use your name, I chose to keep your identity hidden out of respect for you. The same thing I do for the members of my family. I only shared the information that was shared with me. When information is shared with me, I consider where it's coming from and whether or not I could potentially be sharing a rumor. It wasn't something I overheard. It was said right to my face, and if it never left your mouth, then who would have said it? I had no doubt it was true because I saw little glimpses of it while Emma was here over Christmas. So she says, what glimpses are you referring to? She said, we left because COVID gave us no choice. Not that that's any of your business. We went where work was. It's a trial run for Emran to see. It's not going to be any better when it comes to having a set routine at his dad's. So it's like, good talk. So she said, hey, listen, I'm sorry for going off on you if you feel threatened, as it wasn't my intention whatsoever. I tend to speak my mind, and sometimes it can go pretty lengthy. But yeah, I was just feeling hurt or judged by you and Ryan's family yet again for a decision I make that could be the best for Emran. We never know until we try, but please keep me informed as to whether or not he ends up in your care. That's not what I want for my boy 24/7 either. I'm sorry if you feel like I'm a terrible mom for moving away in the first place. I'm also sorry if you feel I'm giving up on my son. That's also not what I'm trying to do. So at this point, I felt bad, like, so I never got around to actually sending this to her, but I had written this out. I just don't understand how people make choices they make. When you have a whole support network here, why would you move so far away? Okay. I've mentioned it to Ryan plenty of times that he shouldn't have agreed to move at all, especially since he had no idea the majority of the driving would fall onto him. At the very least, it would have been fair for his child support payments to be less. I've been broken so badly by people that I don't play the poor me game anymore. I don't have the time or energy to waste on it, especially since it just enables the behavior. I really doubt it's a surprise to anyone that when Emran is here, I'm watching the kids. Mom doesn't leave her bedroom, and kids don't just stay in one spot for very long. I'm not trying to make you feel bad, and I don't think you're a terrible mom. It's incredibly frustrating telling everybody what's going to happen, things happening over and over, and still doing the opposite of what I suggest to make things better. It's even more frustrating getting Emran back now that he has behavior problems when his father could have fought. Then you wouldn't be planning to move back because you'd still be here, or at the very least, only 30 minutes away. If you honestly want to make some change, I recommend not pointing out the support Ryan and I have from our parents when it was your choice to move away from people that would have helped you too. You could have even used me to babysit your daughter. I wouldn't have minded. Another thing would be to stop talking like you have information on my family when we treated you like family. Whether my sister did not, I have no control. She can be incredibly rude. I don't understand why she thinks it's acceptable behavior from an adult. You and my brother had an ugly breakup. Why would you say something you can't back up without explaining what you did with all the beautiful baby shower gifts my family and I got for you and my brother? Or that you pulled the whole, I can't get pregnant, we don't need to use protection card, then bragged about picking baby names, only to end up pregnant that same month. There's the time you kicked Ryan out of the apartment you two shared so your out-of-town friend could spend the night, and we all remember how that ended up. I honestly have no idea how you thought you wouldn't get any negative opinions out of this. It's probably better you not bring up my entire family like that again. You had a relationship with my brother. I always treated you like a friend because, for one thing, I wanted to be a neutral person just in case you and Ryan ever stopped contact, but I also enjoyed your company. I understand that everybody makes mistakes. I just think it's best to own up and do better. I honestly thought you and I were fine up until I got those messages and comments. I really hadn't even considered that you might see the video, and even if I did, Ryan tells us a lot of the things you say. I know you've given up on Emran, only to take him back again. Instead of taking offense, make sure this is the last time this happens. I know you can do it. So, keeping all of this in mind, my brother came over last night, and he was like, "Oh, Sarah, I got some tea." And I was like, "Spill it. Like, let's go, dude." Yeah. JC is, she has met another guy, and now she is leaving her husband and baby daughter to go and live with this guy. I think my brother said in like Montreal. So like starting shit with me, like I just don't get it. Like why? Why would you like bring your name into this? Like I do not understand it. I don't get it. But hopefully like people hear about her and what she does and like stops having anything to do with her, because like that's crazy. Like she had a baby with somebody, like even in the message, he's never made her question where, the love and, but you met another guy? Like, why were you even open to talking to another guy if you're married with a baby daughter and like so busy working and concerned about your son's, behavior issues, that you shouldn't have had time to meet a new guy? Like, that's fucked up.